If your business aims to enter an already working ecosystem, understanding how the existing system works is a critical starting position. Only then can you start considering where the opportunities are for your company to create additional value in that system.
So what we did is we talked to a lot of companies that are doing maintenance in buildings. So in that way we kind of had to uncover how that whole value chain works in building management. But a big part of it is that there's companies who do installations and maintenance. And by talking to them a lot, we found out that on average you have to change the batteries in a sensor between 6 to 18 months. And this costs them between 10 to 35 euros. So we have one example at Schiphol Airport where they have more than 100,000 sensors at the airport. And there's somebody just full-time employed just walking around with a ladder just changing batteries. So this is just a lot of cost for them in the end. So then you can start building a business case. If you know how much money it's costing them, then you simply need to improve upon that. And our proposition is, well, you don't need to do that at all anymore. So if you look at a sensor and you want to use it for 10 to 15 years, you have this cost of ownership. So every time those 6 to 18 months you're sending somebody there and you're paying them 10 to 35 euros to change the battery, that adds up to a cost of ownership. So how much money has this sensor cost me over those 10 to 15 years lifetime? And that becomes a lot. So that can easily be 400 or 500 euros. Whereas the actual purchasing cost is only maybe 40 or 50 euros. So if you're able to get rid of all those maintenance costs, the cost of ownership drops dramatically.
Mapping the ecosystem around your company can also help you develop several alternative market entrance approaches for your technology. The example of Tide Microfluidics from Twente illustrates this.
So we are talking here about a medical product. So it's not so easy to bring that to the market. It takes a lot of time and a lot of investment. So we had to find the right route. And we identified a route where we first develop a product to the research and preclinical market. And this was actually quite a big decision because it required a lot of investment. We had to build a product that is suitable to sell to our customers. And of course we had limited resources at the time, so it was a tough decision. But because we had such good responses from people that we have been talking to, we decided to make this step and we developed our product, and actually it worked out really well. So we were able to sell our first products already in a very early phase. So we could actually sell our products before we had developed them. So this meant we had paying customers. We had very positive feedback. So that actually ended up in this product. And this product is now being used by researchers, mostly in Europe, also in America. And these researchers are now our ambassadors. So at the time it was a tough decision to make it, because we thought, how can we ever get to the medical market? But now we see that our first customers are our ambassadors, and that this helps to accelerate to bring this to the medical field.
For a starting company with limited resources, there is great value in setting up a structure of partnerships that help you accomplish the value proposition you are aiming to create. Now Energy from Delft continues by explaining about what kind of partners are good for growing the business in a strategic way.
I think it's a little bit of a snowball effect. So there wasn't one company for us. So again, the product is still being developed, so we haven't launched it on a large commercial scale. But for each pilot project we did, we looked a lot at what the company is and how that company is going to help us get an introduction, or at least have a chance to set up a project with the next company. So one of the companies we quite early on were able to kind of partner up with in a paid pilot was T-Mobile. Which is just a really big brand name. So also if we go abroad or outside of the Netherlands, everybody knows T-Mobile, whereas other local telecom providers that might not know. So that helped us a lot as well. I think choosing the right brand in a way to work with helps a lot in positioning yourself as well.
BitSensor from TU Eindhoven is another venture that has used external partners that perform several critical activities which make the business of BitSensor more scalable.
And so what we've tried to do since the beginning is build partnerships that want to sell hours and sell integrations and do the stuff that doesn't scale, so we can focus and keep our core on the technology. And so we have a partnership with one of the biggest system integrators here. We're working with several resellers or companies that are actually hackers, like hackers for service, like pen testing companies that hack other companies and they get paid for that. They can also like place bit sensor in there and then monitor the application while it's running if they're not doing the pen test. And so we're like working on a way that we can still build a scalable company and focus solely on technology.
In the next clip, Joost from Eventix explains a widely used strategy for building partnerships. That is to build your own technology in such a way that other companies can easily integrate with you. As Joost explains, such a platform strategy can create a strong competitive advantage for your business.
So we provide a platform for organizers, of which ticketing is the backbone, but they can integrate all kinds of marketing tools and third-party services, which we like to call our ticketing ecosystem. To sell more tickets, to get more insight into their marketing activities, and to service their visitors a lot better. Some third-party integrations that we have and that really distinguishes us from our competitors is that Eventix is a ticketing solution that's built on an open API. And this API is a computer interface that allows to communicate with other computer interfaces. So developers and organizers themselves can program on top of our system and build custom integrations. There's a lot of custom integrations that we've already built. So, for example, communication with services from MailChimp, Google and Facebook ad services. We've got integrations with the most of the accounting software in the Netherlands. So to automate accounting for our customers. And there's also some organizers that are building their own integrations at the moment on top of our API. An example of that is someone is building a chatbot, and the chatbot is able to sell tickets through a conversation. So it won't be a ticket shop, but the chatbot will ask you what kind of tickets do you want, and based on your answer we'll ask you, well, how many, this will cost you this, and afterwards you'll get sent to the payment. So it's really cool to see our customers get their hands dirty with our code and really build their own things. There's a company we really look up to, which is Stripe, and they're actually doing the same for the online payments market. And we think that if you're a small team, but you're competing with giants such as Ticketmaster and Eventbrite, then you've got to be smart if you want to be able to win from those guys. So what we decided to do is focus on what we're good at, which is making the ticketing system, and through the custom integrations that provide to our platform, to the service which we're delivering, we can provide an added value of the ecosystem and not only our platform anymore. So it's actually a way to beat the competition, and the competition is all very closed, so we decided to make our platform very open.
Sometimes there can be downsides to developing closely together with other companies though, as noted by Plus Ultra from Wageningen.
We're looking for co-developers, so basically companies which would like to help us into developing our technology. Disadvantage can be that co-developers usually want exclusivity for the product you co-develop, and this can be small in sometimes, let's say in the Netherlands, or it can be huge, the whole Europe. So it depends on the terms you agree at the beginning.
Also to keep in mind is that even if the product or service itself is fully digital and sellable wherever, physical proximity to partners can still be valuable in making it come together in the first place. Ruben from BitSensor explains.
We've also been offered to build a company in San Francisco. We were offered venture capital there as well. And we didn't do that because we were running customers here in the Netherlands. We had a network of developers here in the Netherlands. And if we moved to San Francisco, we wouldn't have the developer network. We wouldn't have the customers there. We would have to start out from the very early beginning. And so we didn't want to do that there right now, and so we moved back here to the Netherlands to build a company here first with the network that we have, and then expand from there. But what we see is like the software travels all around the world, so the software integrates in the United States or the UK or Germany or Belgium, Mexico, like wherever we have internet, we can sell our software.
Finally, one of the ways to get involved in a network of strong partners might also be to seek funding from parties that can help you get connected. That has been an approach for the TU Eindhoven venture Snowcom.
And you can also attract venture capital. So that in that case you need to hand over shares in order to retrieve your funding. And I found out that the latter is for a startup one of the best ways in order to get your idea funded, because it's not only about the money you receive, you also get, if this VC has a very strong link with the market, for example. So I got funding from the Mainport Innovation Fund as my first VC, and the Mainport Innovation Fund is also founded by Amsterdam Airport Schiphol and KLM. So my very first funding was from my first customer and from the customer of my first customer. So that really gives a very strong push in order, basically said, okay, you're on the right track, we support you in getting this to the market. So it doesn't, of course, so you hand over shares, but what you get in return is really great.